lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the PWCC Weekly Hockey Auction Live coverage. It is Sunday, August the 20th, 2023. My name is Jeremy Lee. I would like to thank all of our subscribers, viewers, podcast listeners. If you're not yet subscribed to this YouTube channel, please take a moment and do so. And of course, also the Hockey Cards Gongshow YouTube channel and podcast. Let's bring out our co-host, Mr. Josh Madigan. Welcome back. Yet another week. Here we go. How have you been, buddy?
I'm awesome. How about you, man?
Yeah, I'm good too. I was out bike riding with my daughter today. We actually went like further than ever, and then I had to ride my bike home by myself. And I tell you what, I think it's been like 15 years since I'd ridden my bike, and I'm not what I used to be on that bicycle. I'll tell you, Josh. I need to kick it back up into high gear. But other than that, and as I'm sure I'll have a good sleep tonight. Other than that, everything is good. Everything is good. Excited for a night of hockey cards here.
Yeah.
We have on the platform on PWCC's Weekly. We have 164 hockey cards tonight that are going off. We've got 30 of them favorited tonight, Josh. You've taken some time. You've looked through the selection. Troy says e-bike. I know, buddy. The bike that I've been riding is literally, I bought it in 1997, I think it was, maybe 98, and I dusted it off, and I've been up on it. But it's not bad. It's been going okay. Thanks for the suggestion. But Josh, back to the business at hand here, Josh. You've taken a look through the selection available tonight. What were some of your initial thoughts?
You know, it's another week where vintage is a little lighter. I think this auction has been so strong on the vintage end for months now, and so it's a little bit odd to see some bigger, more modern cards. But there are a couple that I'm really excited to talk about this week. That a nice Gretzky and a nice McDavid.
Yeah, certainly there are some big cards tonight, and so we're gonna get into them. Let's say hello. Mitch is with us. Good to see you, Mitch. Troy, always a pleasure. Jeff McMahon, welcome back as always. West Texas, Cars, Cards, and Comics. Good evening to you. Jake Dahl, Todd McDonald, what is going on? The professor is back. I hope those in the path of Tropical Storm Hillary will still be able to join. Yeah, some craziness going on.
Yeah.
When you just think about fires and rains and crazy stuff going on there. Hope everybody's safe and as unscathed as possible. It's about all I can say about that. It's in British Columbia, the fires in the Okanagan area, what's going on in California right now. It's tough, but hopefully anybody who has, been able to escape it can take some solace that they're safe and enjoy the finer things in life, like your sports card collection. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough for sure. Let's get into it, though, Josh. Let's take a look at the cards we have up on the plate tonight. So I'm going to start with our share screen right here. And as Josh mentioned, not a lot of vintage being offered tonight. There are some cards out there. Don't get us wrong, but cards that are really interesting. I only found one this week. It's this 1970 Gordie Howe. It's an O-Pee-Chee. It's a PSA 9. It's got the above average eye appeal rating from PWCC, top 30%. And, as I often say, this is a great card for somebody who's working on the player run, which a lot of people work on player run. So let's just take a look at this card. I haven't zoomed in on it yet, Josh, so I'm going to do that right now. And first glance, it looks really nice. Centering side to side looks to be pretty perfect. Top to bottom, it might be a little bit low. That top border looks a little bit wider than the right and the left border, but not bad. Well within mint condition. I think it's appropriately graded from what we can see. I mean, those edges and corners look to be really nice. Bottom left corner, a little bit of fray coming off, but otherwise, like, this card is really nice. I noticed right here in the W, you've got a fisheye. You see that, Josh, right there, right on the W. We have a fisheye right there. You know, a printing defect came out of the pack that way. Not much you can do about that. Outside of that, his mouth looks a little funny to me. I don't know why, and maybe that's just the image. But and again, I can't say that I've seen dozens and dozens of this card or that I've studied this card, but this is a nice copy. Definitely a nice copy overall. It's in a very old PSA slab, and a lot of people wonder, would those grade over today? I think this one certainly would. I don't see anything wrong with this that would slide this below a mint 9 by O-Pee-Chee. And then, you know, we get to a Mark Recchi 1990 O-Pee-Chee. Mark Recchi, you know, one of these guys who I think he's in top 10 all-time scoring. He's one of these guys who was always overshadowed, but he put up crazy numbers during his career. And this is his 1990 O-Pee-Chee, so it's not a rare card. It's junk wax era, but you know, we always kind of think about, you know, if you were collecting rookie cards through the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and then the 90s come along, where do you go? Do you collect the base upper deck? Do you collect O-Pee-Chee if it was available? Are you collecting Score or Donruss? Then you get into the 2000s and you have the Young Guns, and the Young Guns have kind of become that, I believe, you know, the main rookie card each year for a player. Well, this Recchi card, to me, there are better, like, he has an upper deck. He's got an O-Pee-Chee Premier, I think. Maybe not an O-Pee-Chee Premier rookie. Did he have no? I'm not sure. I don't think he did have a card in that 90-91 O-Pee-Chee Premier. I can't recall seeing one of that. I don't think he does. So anyway, this might be his most important O-Pee-Chee rookie card. And it's that one that kind of follows the lineage of O-Pee-Chee rookies. So I like the card. It's not a very valuable card, but isn't a Gem Mint 10 holder. And I don't know the population, but Josh, I'm going to ask for your thoughts on these two cards while I look up the population on that Mark Recchi, because I think it's a cool card and I'm just interested.
The Recchi is 65 is the population.
Pop 65. That's a nice small population. I like that. What do you think of these, Josh?
Big fan of the Gordie Howe. We actually highlighted that on our show. Troy did some research on that one. What I thought found fascinating about this card is, well, first of all, it's a Pop 32. There's one PSA 10, so only one graded higher. And this is his last O-Pee-Chee base card in a Red Wings uniform.
Is it last Red Wing base card right there, 1970? So 71. Where does
he said that there was a commemorative card that Topps created in 1971-72.
Okay, interesting. All right, cool. Yeah, it's a great card. It's going to make somebody very happy. It's gonna I'm sure transfer ownership on the PSA set registry almost immediately, because, you know, I feel like whoever buys this is probably working on the Gordie Howe run, and to get a 9 in any of these, you know, late 60s, early 70s, it's tough. And so a great opportunity there for somebody to add it. And I like, I saw Mitch's comment here. Where does he say? Gordie was already in his 65th season in 1970. Too funny. That's a good joke, Mitch. Good joke. I like it a lot. 90s hockey collector, welcome to the show. Hobby Champ says, forgot to tell you, I won those 2 Gretzky starting lineup cards last week. I wouldn't have bid had I not been watching. Tell PWCC this live stream works as intended. Love it, Hobby Champs. I hope you enjoyed those cards, and I'm quite certain you didn't have to pay much for them. So that's pretty cool. Very nice, very nice. To this Facebook user, I'm gonna put this up right now. If you can go to look at the link I just put on the screen, streamyard.com/Facebook. Please do me a favor, go to that link right now and click the big blue button, and then come back, and we'll be able to see your name. And if you're logging into these shows on your computer, sometimes your phone on another time, you'll have to do it in both places. But we greatly appreciate it. Just makes it that much more fun to interact. StreamYard.com/Facebook. Please click that big blue button, especially if you're going to ask an off-topic question, but happy for you to ask one. John says, Recchi retired at a perfect time in a great team for sure. For sure he did. And Troy says next year O-Pee-Chee did a commemorative card for Gordie Howe. Topps did create a 71-72 base card. Okay, very good. Thank you, guys. All right, let's go on to these next two cards, which are both Yager O-Pee-Chee Premiers. The reason why I want to look at these, Josh, is because we have a PSA 10 right here, PSA 10 Yager O-Pee-Chee Premier, and we have a BGS 9.5 that has 3 subgrades of 9.5, and the edges got a 10. Now, I'm going to actually make these bigger so that we can look at them side by side, well, somewhat side by side. Here we go. Let's see. Did I do that right? Yeah. So this is the Beckett 9.5, and here's the PSA 10. Let's get these centered on the screen. So I just want to point out one thing. Usually I would say, oh my gosh, buy that BGS 9.5 and save yourselves the money, because the 9.5 is currently sitting at $45, while the PSA 10 is sitting at $110. However, in this case, I do notice that the 9.5 is off-centered. Now, it's not badly off-center, but if you look at the right border versus the left border, it's definitely narrower on the left. I'd call it 55-45. It's still great centering, but it's not perfect. Top to bottom looks pretty good. But if you look at the PSA 10, I think this centering is almost perfect, if not perfect. It looks better to me than the 9.5. So if you're really trying to hone in on a strong copy of this particular card, I do think in this case the PSA 10 is the better card than the BGS 9.5. And oftentimes, my opinion will be, take the one that's cheaper. You're basically getting the same card. So I wanted to just sort of throw those thoughts out there to people. Also let you know that the PSA 10 back in the peak of the hobby was selling for $500, maybe even $6 or $7. It's come down a bit. I'm not sure where recent comps are. Let's go to Josh and hear your thoughts on these two Yagers and any additional information you may have, Josh.
Yeah, recent comps on the PSA 10 are about $140. That is a pop of $3,500, and the BGS 9.5 is a pop of $1,000.
Recent comps are 140 on this card here. Yeah. That's come down quite a bit from over 500 down to 400, 300, and all its way down to about 150, as Josh is saying. So you're right around there here, but 3,500. That's a big number, Josh. That is quite a few PSA 10s that are out there for this card. It almost makes me wonder if I'd rather have a different. He's got a few rookie cards from 1991. Would you rather have a regular O-Pee-Chee rookie? Would you rather have a score? We've seen scores go by in the last couple of months. Upper Deck, of course, is a nice looking card. So you got your options, but there's two out there tonight. And if you're interested in either one of those, I wish you the best as you go to acquire one of those.
What I'd say about that, Jeremy, though, is there's 4,000 Jack Hughes Young Guns, and those are $350 right now. And I get a little bit of that as prospecting and baked into that. And so I don't know if that, I like the O-Pee-Chee Premier. I think that's my favorite of the Yager cards, and the fact that it's affordable, I don't think makes it necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's the key word there, I think you said, Josh, is it's affordable. If you're going to pick it up for $150, you're likely not going to have to sell it if you have finance, if you need some money. You may have better cards you can sell if you need to. I don't want to spend anybody's money, but it's only $150 really at the end of the day. So a high pop, and then you make that comparison to Jack Hughes, and then you compare those two players in their careers. It's kind of funny. I'm a Jack Hughes. I think he's got a great future, but you cannot compare what he's done to a Yager's done. Yager's an all-time legend, like a top-tier legend, and Jack Hughes is still somewhat a prospect. So the fact that he has one of his key rookies has a higher print run or a higher gem rate, or let me rephrase again, a higher population in gem mint, yet sells for more than the Yager does, is just tells you a story about how the hobby goes, I suppose.
Yep.
All right, we have an Eric Lindros 95 Bowman's Best Refractor, and I just love the looks of this card, and I think that's probably why I wanted to look at it. I think these are really cool. Just picked up a Pavel Bure and a Yager myself from this set. Josh. So I think they're really nice. It's in an SGC 9 holder, and we're talking about a $13 card right now, pretty cheap. I don't know the population of this in SGC or PSA. I can't imagine it's super high, probably under 100 like total submissions. Again, totally guessing, but refractors are special cards in my opinion. They're not because they're super rare, just because they're nice. They're nice to look at, really nice to look at in a lot of cases. So, and Eric Lindros is one of these guys who, you know, if he had a longer career, Josh, he could have been somebody that we spoke to in that same breath when, you know, Gordie Howe, Bobby Orr, Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Eric Lindros, Sidney Crosby, McDavid. He would have fit in nicely there, but his career was cut short. So I think that's the biggest reason why, because he had some amazing years. He's a Hall of Famer, had a great career, although shortened and injury riddled. But do you have any thoughts on this card? Did it even catch your eye, Josh?
Oh yeah, I have a bunch of cards I'm a big Bowman's Best fan, and I have a bunch of cards from the set. I think I have this one too. Most of mine are raw. I haven't looked it up, but to me, a 9 grade, a mint grade is probably pretty good. A lot of these cards have surface scratches, so you got to be careful about that, even if the corners, edges, and centering are good. So it's a pretty cool card for $13.
It is pretty cool. It is for sure. Here's I'm going to show you. I have this Pavel Bure. As you can see, it's from the same year and set, but it's this cool trade variation. I'll just do this for a second to show everybody. It's got this cool trade variation. You see cool trade in the background there, and you also see a cool trade logo right there. To be honest, I don't know what that means or what it meant at the time, but I just think these are really cool. It is a refractor, so you can see I think it's a refractor. Yeah, it is a refractor, the cool trade refractor. And it's just really, I just think they're really, really nice. They've got some embossment going on as well. Yep. So really nice cards. So listen, not a card that I'm saying you're going to make a ton of money on. It's a collector card, but again, I just think they're really, really nice. Before we talk about this next card, which is really, I think, the biggest card in the auction tonight, let's go to some more comments here. The unnamed Facebook user says, what do you think about the possibility of the Howie Morenz autoed stick card? And what this person is getting at is Dr. Brian Price, who was the owner of In the Game trading cards, which he then sold to Brian Gray and Leaf, but he now makes cards under the banner called President's Choice. These are really unlicensed cards. They could be made by anybody, but because they're made by Brian Price, who has a history in the hobby, they are much more respected than if they came out of my basement or Josh's basement. So keep that in mind. They are simply custom cards, and he recently acquired an older, like a souvenir hockey stick with a Howie Morenz autograph on it, and he has announced that he's going to cut that autograph out of the souvenir card, put it in a one of his President's Choice hockey cards, and sell it as a one-of-one type Howie Morenz auto. Howie Morenz, the first superstar of hockey. His rookie card is from the 1923 Patterson set. One of my favorite and I feel most important rookie cards in all of hockey. So there was a bit of an uproar, Josh. I don't know if you saw it in some Facebook groups. How could you cut this up? It should be in the Hall of Fame. It's not Hall of Fame worthy. It's just his autograph. It could be on a piece of paper. Some people thought it was on a game used stick. It isn't. So my thoughts are, go ahead, Dr. Brian Price, cut that thing up, put it in a card and sell it. It's not a Hall of Fame worthy piece in its current state. So those are my thoughts. I read a bunch of comments in some Facebook groups. I thought people were up in arms and they really didn't need to be. That was my thought. Were you aware of this at all, Josh?
No, I wasn't aware of it. And I don't know too much about President's Choice other than kind of like you said, it's a lot of cut autos that are in cards. And I kind of agree with you. It's almost all memorabilia is cut up and put in the sports card. So it would seem weird to pick this one issue. You have Topps cutting up Babe Ruth jerseys and autos all over the place right now. So,
and Brian Price is also the gentleman who cut up the George Vezina pads back in like 2000 or so, and he took a lot of heat for that because those were Hall of Fame worthy. But he's cut up a lot of memorabilia since then. And to pick on this one autograph on that happens to be on wood, I think is kind of silly. But anyway, we'll see how that card looks. I'm sure he'll make it look as nice as he can. It's essentially these are Broder cards. They're just unlicensed. That's all they are. There's no license from the player. There's no license from the team. They're legitimate. They're if you look up a Broder card, that's basically what they are. Another way to put it is like a basement card, I suppose. All right. Hobby Champ says Recchi is, in my opinion, the single most underappreciated hockey player maybe ever. 3 cups with 3 different clubs, 1,500 plus points, nearly 600 goals, 1,000 plus penalty minutes, 15.1 shot percentage, and no one cares. Yeah, well said, Hobby Champs. You're exactly right. It's too bad because he was a great player, as you just outlined. So thanks for coming out with some statistics to back up my comments. John says, same for Ron Francis. But Ron Francis gets hobby love, John. That's what I'll tell you. I give him hobby love. My buddy Ralphie gives him hobby love. And I know a few other people do as well. So I don't know anybody that collects Mark Recchi. And I might know somebody who does, but they've never told me. So if you do, please come forth. I would love to be able to say that Mark Recchi actually has a few hardcore collectors, but I don't know of a single one. And I would hope, I have to think there are a couple out there, but I don't know. Dave Kaplan says, did you get the Jagers? I don't have auto at the, I did not get Jagers auto at the National. I interviewed Jaromir Jagr at the National for about 6 minutes. I did not get his autograph. I have his autograph. The last thing I wanted to do was sort of taint that experience by saying, oh, hey, can I get your autograph? It was cool that he talked to me in the first place. Anthony lets us know that Recchi has 5 Stanley Cup rings. Must be in a coaching capacity, I believe. Maybe not, though. Maybe not, Anthony. Curious, what were those all playing player cups? Please let us know. Again, we're talking about this Mark Recchi rookie card right here, 1990 O-Pee-Chee and a Gem Mint PSA 10 holder. And it's really like the end of that like O-Pee-Chee design. It always changed. O-Pee-Chee's design changed from when they came back in 68 right through till here we are in 1990. But this is on brand for me as far as O-Pee-Chee goes. All right, Josh, here's the big one. Here's the big card. I think we should open this one up. Open up the auction in a new link, and let's see what we've got. It's at 3,600. When we went live, 20 minutes ago, it was at 2,700. This card, there's only 30 copies made, as you can see right here. This is numbered 19 of 30. It's from 1997. This is a Pinnacle, totally certified mirror platinum. Lots of parallels in these old Pinnacle sets. And this is, I think, the toughest of all. This is certainly a special card. This is, last week, if you remember, I picked up the Bowman's Best Atomic Refractor. And that card's out of 100. So some might say, well, Jeremy, are you interested in this card here as well? And honestly, I'm not. But not because it's not important or anything. I'm just not a huge fan of the looks of this card. Simple as that. I'm not a big fan of these sort of Pinnacle certified mirrors, mirror golds, mirror reds, mirror platinums. I don't love the looks of them. And I almost wish I did, because I do think this is an amazing card. Despite that, maybe his most important 90s insert parallel short printed. I mean, only 30 of these. That's a big deal, you guys. There's 2 of these in a PSA 8, 2 graded higher, as PWCC lets us know right here. And if I was just made of money, I would definitely pick up this card. I would definitely, and I wouldn't mind that I didn't love the looks of it. I would still pick it up because it's so important. But I'm not, and maybe I'm just trying to make myself feel better that I just can't buy it right now. But it's certainly an important card, and I'll be really happy for whoever does pick it up. And I do think that this is one of those cards that, as 90s become more and more pursued, and the rarest of the rare climbs the mountain to be the top of the peak in terms of what's important, this might be on the Mount Rushmore of 90s Gretzky cards. Over to you, Josh.
Yeah, it's a really special card. Like you said, out of 30 makes it very limited. A couple of interesting things about the Platinum Mirror Gold subset from 1997 Pinnacle is there's actually 130 cards in this subset. The first 30 were out of 25, and the next 100 were out of 30. So usually when you see like an insert set or a parallel like this, it's maybe 20 players maximum. But I just thought that was interesting that there's 130 cards. Like you mentioned, there's 2 PSA 9s as well as 2 PSA 8s. So this is one of the top 4 graded cards by PSA. And the last one of these to sell at PSA 8 was sold for $6,300 US last July. So in July of 2022. So we're quite a bit less than that right now. It's in deal territory. The interesting thing about that one, though, and I'll ask you the same question I asked Troy on our show, is that PSA 8 has the coating or the peel on the card. So are you a peel or a not to peel guy?
From my personal preference, for my personal collection, I'm a no peel guy. But from a investment perspective, I think it's probably better to have the peel on, because it just gives anyone else down the line the option to take it off if they so want to. It's the way it came out of the pack. But these peels that we see in various sports and products, they say right on that peel, they say, please remove or remove peel. Like it was meant to be removed. So I think, but they look so much nicer without it. So it's one of those weird things. I think so many people, there's different thoughts on it. Mitch here throws in a comment. He says, 90s guys I've talked to seem to be avoiding this card because of the lack of peel. Mitch goes on to say, I consider the peel to be an extension of the wrapper. Like that, I really like that way he puts it there, an extension of the wrapper, because the only reason the peel is on there is to protect the surface of the card. It's the only reason. So take it off. I mean, it was meant to be taken off. But as he says, there's a bunch of traditionalists who want the card to be the way it came out of the pack. And if it came out of the pack with peel, that's how they want it. So I don't know. Like, to me, I would be okay if I was in the market for one of these cards. There's only 30 of them. So for the guys that Mitch has been talking to, like, you don't have a lot of opportunities. And of the 30, how many are even ever going to hit the market? Ever? Like, how many of those 30 are known by the P? Like, there might only be 15 of them that are actually in the hobby still. Some of them could have been destroyed, thrown out by mothers, who knows, So I don't think this is one of those cases where beggars can't be choosers. If this is a card you need, you snap it up when you have the opportunity. That's it. So I would, if I was talking to the guys that Mitch was talking to, I'd be like, hey, listen, I understand where you're coming from, but you may never get the opportunity again. And the card looks nicer this way anyway, so snap it up. Another thing I'll mention is that, to me, the grade does not matter. I would not care if this was an 8 or a 9 or a 7 even. I would bid the same amount just to get it, because there's only 30. There's only 30 of them. So whatever it takes to get it, you get it. And the condition, I wouldn't even care.
I tend to agree with you, though. Just based on the look of the card, I would take the Atomic Refractor over this one. Just personal preference.
Hands down for me. But there are other 90s Gretzky's that are super important that I don't like the looks of. The grand finale, I don't get it. I just don't get it on the grand finale. It's an important card because I believe it's numbered out of 50, but it's another one where I'll take that Atomic Refractor all day long over it. So baseball, basketball, football, I think they got luckier in terms of the aesthetics of some of those amazing 90s cards. But that said, it makes the menu smaller for us hockey collectors, and it kind of just, there's not that much that you need to have, not that many different cards. If you're collecting Gretzky's or Lemieux or Jagers from this era, or Solani's like I do. There aren't a lot. So you don't necessarily need to say, well, I can't buy this one because I got to buy the PMG green or red. Those didn't exist in hockey. So you just now you take this one and you put it away and you're happy. It's that stamp on the back of it is where the value really is driven from, is the fact that says 30 on the right of the slash. That's the most important thing on that card right there. 90s Hockey Collector says, correct me if I'm wrong, but those are not pack pulled. I don't know. I thought they were. Trevor says, peel off. John says, did you scratch off the black layer to see the player names on the 80s O-Pee-Chee cards? I did not. I probably did a couple back in the day, but no, I think those are better left unscratched. But those weren't there to protect the surface. Those were there to play a game, a bit different. John says, removing the peel is altering the card that came out of the pack. I don't see it that way. The peel is a separate thing than the card. You're not peeling a layer of the card away. You're peeling away it's actually not the card because it says right on there, remove the peel. It's peel. It's a separate thing that is meant to be removed. I kind of understand what you're saying, John, but I completely disagree with your equal sign. I don't think the equal sign applies at all there myself. John says Jeremy will bid on it from another screen. No, I'm not bidding on this one tonight, John, but John calls me a peel remover. Yeah, I love that. Appreciate you playing the devil's advocate. Hobby Champ says peel was meant to be removed. That's my position as well. I just want to go back to Mark Recchi for a moment. Anthony says 91 with Pittsburgh as a player, 06 Carolina, 2011 Boston as a player, and then 2 years with Pittsburgh as a development coach. So 2 coaching Stanley Cups for Mark Recchi, 3 as a player. The guy's an all-timer. There's just no doubt about it. All right. I mean, listen, we have other cards to look at, Josh, but this card is really it's really exciting that it's being offered. I don't know the last time I've seen one of these sell. Again, it's not a card that I look at, that I search for, because it's not on my want list. So I'm sure a couple have gone by, but I'm happy to cover it tonight. And we'll see what happens. It's at $3,700 right now, and we are now in extended bidding. The first level is half an hour, and if any cards do not get a bid within that half hour, they will end. They will be over. So this is the one.
I don't know if you've noticed this too, Jeremy, but I would say in the last year that the late 90s inserts and parallels are one of the faster growing areas of the hobby.
Absolutely. Oh, trust me, I have noticed, Josh, and it's not only happening in hockey, it's happening in all sports right now. In basketball, Michael Jordan high grade inserts and parallels are selling like hotcakes. They're I believe some are breaking all-time records. It's crazy. The 90s is and when I say the 90s, I mean the second half of the 90s mostly, like 96 to 99, even to 2000. That was an era where there's so many cool cards made, so much that you can learn and discover and collect. There are cards that are quite affordable. You can get cards from them that are $20. We saw the Color Guard last week, and then there are cards that are $3,700 here that you have to pay more for, but are just super special. So yeah, I agree. All right, let's go to the next row here. We have. This is a nice row. We have a 2000 SP Game Used Tools of the Game Wayne Gretzky jersey auto, numbered out of 100, in a BGS 9.5 holder. Let's open this up so we can have a look at the autograph. You can see it's numbered out of 100, hand numbered on the front out of 100 right there, 21 of 100. This autograph looks gorgeous. Oh yeah, look at that. I mean, this autograph is perfect. Beautiful bold blue, still intact. Doesn't seem to be fading at all. What a gorgeous autograph on the card. You got a plain white, what the hobby's now referring to as a napkin patch, but it's mesh at least. Lots of these little holes in the mesh. New York Rangers card from the year 2000. Corners are a 9. All the other subgrades are a 9.5. The autograph deservedly got a 10. This is an early Gretzky auto mem card, and from SP Game Used, a great brand, one of my favorite, brands year over year. I mean, there's some stuff there I don't love, Josh, but there's often some really cool cards. Supreme Patches being the kind of the anchor of that set nowadays here 20 something years later. But what were your thoughts on this one?
It's a really important card. Love like the auto, and I'm just going to be controversial for a second, but there's a number of these very early Gretzky like memorabilia auto cards, which I get the significance that they were kind of the first of their kind and to be such a big player, but I kind of find a lot of them ugly. Just me.
Say that last part again. Sorry.
I find a number of them ugly.
I hear you. This one I don't mind though.
This one I like. There's what's the other one where it's kind of he's got like the teal. You know what I'm talking about? I think he might have been wearing an All-Star jersey or something like that.
Yeah, that's his first auto mem card ever. That's his most important auto mem card from the year. That's the 97. Aesthetically, it's not the most beautiful card, but super important.
That's what I say. I get the importance of it, just not the beauty of it. Maybe.
Yeah. No, understandable for sure. Next up, we have a 2005 Ovechkin Young Guns. This is an autographed Young Gun, and it's autographed. I believe this is somebody's in-person autograph because it's not numbered, so it's not like a buyback it's not a buyback. It's usually when Upper Deck does a buyback, they'll number it to 10 or to 5 or to 8 in the case of Ovechkin, something like that. This one, I believe, is just somebody had it autographed and then they submitted to PSA under the PSA DNA service, and they gave the autograph a 10, the card itself a 7, so pretty low for a Young Gun, but it's at $1,625, and the autograph is legitimate, so says PSA, so kind of a nice opportunity. And just think about a Michael Jordan 86 Fleer rookie. You take a 7 in that's worth, I don't know, $8,000, whatever, and that's a guess. You add an autograph, it's worth $60,000 sort of thing. And again, I'm pulling these numbers out of the air. I don't know if they're accurate, but it's like that. It's as dramatic as that. And here we have an Ovechkin that's autographed, and it's probably going to sell for less than what a 9 would sell for. So, if you like an autographed rookie card and you are, an Ovechkin is one that you'd like, there aren't a lot of opportunities to get an autographed Ovechkin Young Gun. So this might be one of the very few, especially that is not a buyback. So an option for you for sure. How about you, Josh? Thoughts on this?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm usually not a big in-person auto guy, but I don't know if he paid Ovechkin to put that auto in that spot, because like a lot of times why I don't like in-person autos is you hand the player the card and like they would typically sign with that blue ink over the black jersey and you would be struggling to see the auto. So if you were an IP auto fan, this would probably be a good option for you because it's almost the best spot in the whole card for the auto, I would think.
Definitely. You're echoing what Mitch put in the comments there a minute ago. He says, I still don't like in-person autos, but he placed that auto as perfectly and cleanly as he possibly could have. I added possibly for emphasis because I completely agree with both of you. That's as good as it gets for placement. So, and oftentimes consider this too, where it's a buyback Ovechkin Young Gun, and there are a couple instances of that in the history, I believe, at least one for sure. You got to now think, okay, did Upper Deck hand number it first before it went to Ovechkin, and did Upper Deck hand number it in that spot so Ovechkin couldn't autograph it there? I wonder. So interesting stuff. Back to the Gretzky auto, though, we have a comment here from John. He says probably game used napkin at least. And again, napkin, it's actually jersey, but yeah, napkin is what we're calling it nowadays. He goes on to say way better than National Treasures football from this year that had all not from a specific game or event. Yeah, that's true. Let's look at the back of this card for a moment, actually. Let's look at the back of this and see what it says here. Getting away from my main screen. But I'm curious. I think it's just going to say use an official NHL game. Yeah, that's what it says right over here. We're just going to open up this image. And right there, it says On the front of this card is an authentic piece of game-worn jersey worn by Wayne Gretzky in an NHL game. So that's what you're looking for. Very specific. We know it is game-worn. PWCC uses the word patch here, and I think, hockey-wise, we don't call that a patch. We consider that to be a jersey piece. A patch implies logo, numbers, name bar, pieces from patches within the jersey. This is not a patch, as hockey collectors would discuss. And maybe other sports don't do this anymore either. But just want to point that out. It's not what, if you're a hockey collector and you're expecting there to be what you might otherwise consider to be a patch, it's a jersey. It's not a patch. I don't even think they were doing patch cards back then. So keep that in mind. All right, let's go back to our main page here and continue from where we left off. Let's make that a bit smaller. The last card on this row is this Stamkos Program of Excellence. So this is from the Cup. These are on-card autos, numbered out of 10. They are the tribute to the player playing for Team Canada. Program of Excellence was actually the name of the Canadian hockey program. So they tied right into that at Upper Deck back in 5. Program of Excellence cards came out at 5 years in a row, maybe something like that. Different design each year, on-card autos. Really nice. And Josh, you probably won't remember this, but when this came, this I think debuted in 08. Yeah, this is the first year. It was the 08 year. That was the year I attended the pack out. These cards were on fire for several years. They were among the most popular cards from the set. They've settled down now, but Canadian hockey fans love their Team Canada cards, and there's only 10 sets available. This is the first year of Program of Excellence, so I'm a big fan of first anything in sports cards. And just keep all that in mind. It's not graded. As you can see, it's got the MBA authentication, numbered out of 10. Josh, have you taken any sort of looks at the Program of Excellence cards that have come out within the Cup back in the kind of earlier years?
Yeah, a little bit. Mitch kind of helped. I think talked a little bit about that when he did his first couple masterclass on our show. I just want to know when the U.S. companion Program of Mediocrity comes out.
Good one. Hey, listen, U.S. hockey is getting very strong.
Oh, I
know. Canada's lucky to have McDavid, Bedard coming up here, but I don't know, man. The U.S. is producing some great hockey players lately, so we'll see where it goes, right? We'll see where it goes. Brendan Ryan makes the comment. He says a standardized multiplier for autographs would take the guesswork out of overpricing. Yeah, that's a big project. I don't know if it's possible, but I agree. It would take some of the guesswork out for sure. Mosaic Mind says hello from the storm and earthquakes in Southern California. Got to see the podcast before the apocalypse finishes us off. Well, Mosaic Mind, thanks for stopping by. Wishing you and everybody down there all the best through these difficult circumstances you're under. So fingers crossed for you down there for sure. Mitch says somehow during the pandemic, people started calling every jersey swatch a patch. Yeah, I noticed that too. And he goes on to say there actually were patch versions of 2000, 2001 SP Game used tools of the game out of 50. Thanks for that information, but no auto patch yet. Yeah, I think the first auto patches came out in like 02, 03, if I recall. All right, good stuff, everybody. Thanks for all your comments and questions. Let's go to the next row. And we've got 15 minutes left in this first level of extended bidding. So here we have a couple of young guns. And again, these are they're the barometer of the hobby for me. We got a Leon Draisaitl PSA 10, and we've got a William Nylander PSA 10. He's kind of the fourth man in Toronto, whereas Draisaitl's the second man in Edmonton, probably be the first man anywhere else. Nylander, probably be the second guy almost anywhere else, if not the first. Look at this, $625 here, $105 there. Josh, I know you're a big fan of Leon Draisaitl. You often mention how he has more goals in the past, 5 years than any other player. A very important piece of data right there. What are your thoughts on these two players today here in August of 2023?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Draisaitl. I really kind of appreciate his contribution. Of course, he lives in the long shadow and deserved shadow of Connor McDavid. One of the things I really like about this specific card, which typically is it's got a lower pop count. It's 779, and it's the pop count that really kind of has shied me away a lot from Young Guns. And so, given how good he is and how what he produces, I think that that's a number I can get behind. And then honestly, I didn't know a lot about Nylander until the playoffs when I saw him a little bit, and I know he was one of their best players in round 2 when they got knocked out. And so he just seems like to me one of these. There's probably 10 guys in the league that are the third or fourth best player on their team and get no shine because of that. Because if the hobby can't support a Leon Draisaitl because Connor McDavid's on the same team, there's no way that it's gonna, build value into William Nylander.
Yeah, there's talk that he's going to get traded to the Calgary Flames, my team where I live, and I'd love to have him here. We need somebody to replace Johnny Gaudreau as a kind of a fast goal scoring player. But I agree with you. He's definitely overshadowed by Matthews, Marner, Tavares over in Toronto. Draisaitl obviously plays with McDavid, and I'm sure makes McDavid a better player and vice versa. So here's an opportunity. We're in the off season. It's the heat. This middle of August might be an opportunity to buy these cards at good prices, because come the end of September, the exhibition games have started, the preseason, and the season's going to start the first week of October. And then all of a sudden we might see some of these cards starting to move in value. And I'm not saying up, but I think up, but you never know. Some can come down too. If either of them get hurt or they come out in a slump, that's not going to help their cards right out of the gate. Carbon Chung joins us, and he says, no, 2001-2 was the first year to have autographed patches. I think I would know, since 01-02 SP Game Used was the first ever NHL set I worked on. And if you don't know Carbon Chung, I'm sure you do. He was with Upper Deck for several years and was I believe a brand manager, Carbon, you were, and senior brand manager towards the end, if not even more senior, and conceived the cup and all these and exquisite. So we have a lot to thank Carbon for as far as the great cards that Upper Deck was making back in the day. Alan says the first hockey patch cards were 1999 and the first auto patch was 2000 with Gretzky and Yzerman numbered to jerseys with a 2 out of 25 and a 101, as well as the Master Collection quad patch auto out of 9. So the first auto patch was 2000. Carbon, can you concur, deny, or say, oh yeah, that's right? Let us know what you think, Carv. Thanks for the information, Alan. And then Josh, we have, I don't know, these are cool cards. If you're opening up OPG in the last few years, you are seeing some, and you get about 4 or 5 of these in a box. You're getting these playing cards, actually, aces, kings, queens, jacks, all the way down. You can play poker with these, but this is a foil parallel, and they're pretty cool. This is the Alex Ovechkin. It's in an SGC 8.5 holder. It's only $10. I just thought it was a cool card. Nice to, help educate everybody and show some of the different options that are out there. Again, you can collect cards and not have to spend, $500, $5,000 each time. You can buy some cool cards, build a nice 52 card set for well under $1,000 and have 52 important players from the league that year. Kind of a neat option. Josh, what do you think of these playing cards? Well, let me ask you this, Josh. Would you ever collect them, or would you only collect them just to play with them?
No, I collect them. Nothing makes me happier than opening up hobby boxes of OPG. It's my favorite product. It's so cheap. I don't care that none of the cards are worth anything. You get like 15 hits a pack, and there's so much variety. There's cool inserts. There's Easter eggs. I love OPG paper. And I'm a big fan of the playing cards.
It's a fun product for sure. Carbon says, I think that's right. I was referencing the first autograph patch in SP Game Used. Thank you, Carbon. Name, welcome to the show. Hey, Josh, Name is late again. And I don't know how, like he says, sorry. I don't know, Name. We we can't continue to accept your apology. Please be on time. All right. Of course, I'm kidding. Welcome, name. Great to see you, buddy. All right, next row, we have three young guns. We've got Miro Heiskanen, we've got Jack Hughes, my favorite young guy, and Carter Verhaeghe. We had to pull out the Carter Verhaeghe. There's two of them. Right there is another one because of the playoffs that he had. The playoffs he had. Yeah, Brendan says no forgiveness. Tardy. So that's why I brought up Carter Verhaeghe, because he had a great playoff for the Florida Panthers. Miro Heiskanen, one of the best young defensemen in the NHL. Jack Hughes, one of the best young players in the NHL. And Carter Verhaeghe, one of the best players in last year's playoffs, who will probably not ever repeat that level of play or success on the ice. But hey, I hope I'm wrong for him and his family's sake. Josh, how about you? I know, like, we talk about Jack Hughes a lot. I'm curious what your thoughts are on Miro Heiskanen. I love the Dallas Stars. I love many of the young players they have there. Robertson, Ottinger, Heiskanen, Hintz. What are your thoughts on Heiskanen as a player?
Oh, I think it's hard because excuse me. One sec.
Yeah. And I mean, one of the things about Heiskanen is that Cale Makar is the leading young defense. Yeah. And you got McAvoy, but Heiskanen he's not that much worse than those other guys.
No, and I was just gonna say I got choked up because our team was stolen from us, and so it's very hard to give any compliments as a Minnesotan to any Dallas Star. But they have an awesome young team. I don't know how much hobby love he'll get. I don't know if he'll score enough goals. Like you said, there's so many collectible type players on the Dallas Stars. You've got, of course, Jason Robertson, Rope Hintz, Jake Ottinger. A lot of people, I don't think have noticed that Wyatt Johnston, 19 years old, scored the same amount of goals as Matty Beniers did last season. And so he could be a guy. And so I think if I'm a Dallas Stars fan, this is a card that I would want in my collection. I'm just not buying this card expecting to get rich.
Yeah. And then Dallas, Ben, Sagan, Pavelski. I mean, I think those guys are all still there. They've got a good team. I'm excited for Dallas this year. And Dallas actually, Heiskanen may not get a ton of hobby love, a defenseman, but Dallas has a lot of fans. And I don't know why. Even locally in Calgary, there's a couple of hardcore Dallas fans. So we'll see. Jack Hughes, I mean, what more do we need to say about Jack Hughes? He's one of the young players in the league I am most excited about moving forward, if not the most. Like him, Stützle, Robertson, not to mention the obvious guys like the McDavids and the Matthews and the Bedards, and then Verhaeghe. So I'm curious to see what Verhaeghe sells for. It's at $23 right now down there. We have another one at $24. We have an Adam Fox, another defenseman that you can say in the same breath as Heiskanen and Makar and McAvoy. He's a top young defenseman, plays for New York. More hobby love there, an original 6 team. And then you got Cale Makar. We all know who Cale Makar is, but it's kind of cool to see these 3 defensemen here, 3 of the best young defensemen in the league, PSA 10s all selling on the same night. I think we're going to get to kind of see what order the hobby values them in. And I'm going to guess it'll go Makar, Fox, Heiskanen. Am I right, Josh?
We got Quinn Hughes in there too, right? Didn't I see a Quinn Hughes? Or no? Oh,
you know what? I think there was one. I don't think I favorited it tonight.
Gotcha. Yeah, it is. It always kind of fun to see the defenseman. It seemed it'll be. Yeah, I kind of feel like we need 1 or 2 more that have the offensive game that Makar does to really maybe have a breakthrough in defenseman in the hobby. I do want to make a comment on the Jack Hughes though, real quick, in that I like this card. I'm a big fan of it. I kind of want one, but I want to buy it really cheap. I think a year from today, I'm almost certain of it. I would bet big money that this will be the highest population PSA 10 card in all of hockey cards. It's got a 76% gem rate.
Yeah, Irish Flyers is asking the pop count. It's 3,795 right now, Josh. What's the last time you saw? Do you remember?
Yeah, it goes up like a couple hundred every month.
Yeah.
And so, would you be shocked if it was 5,000 next year? I wouldn't be.
No.
And so again, and I think it's a good distinction to make is that just because I wouldn't buy this card, I don't expect it to ever be worth $10,000 because there's just going to be way too many of them. But it doesn't mean it's a bad card. It doesn't mean it's a card you wouldn't want in your PC. You just have to buy it with the right mindset. You have to buy it knowing that, well, if I can get it for a couple $100, it'll probably be worth a couple $100 10 years from now.
Yeah. You hope at worst you break even on it. There's 3,795 PSA 10s. Total submissions 5,067. So as Josh said, pretty high gem rate. 1,111 PSA 9s. Mitch wants to know, Josh, what card currently has that title of highest PSA 10 pop for hockey?
I'll have it in 2 seconds. I think I know it, but I want to be super accurate. It's
Can I guess before you say?
Yeah, go for it.
It's not. Is it the Yager?
Kirill Kaprizov.
Oh God, it's a card from
4,290.
Oh my God, that's so crazy. That's so funny. All right, well that speaks to the print runs and grading popularity over the last few years. It certainly has been on a run up. All right, so as I mentioned, we had the second Verhaeghe, we've got the Adam Fox, and we've got the Cale Makar. Makar is a special player. I think easily the most special of those defensemen we just talked about. Josh, here's a big card. I know you've talked about it. You've had really good reaction to this on one of your Instagram posts. So I'll just mention that this is his Young Guns canvas. This is a buyback autograph. Only 10 were autographed by Connor and reseeded into a buyback product by Upper Deck. It's currently at $4,500. Josh, why don't you kind of articulate the specialness of this particular card?
Well, it's kind of interesting to compare to the Ovechkin, where the Ovechkin was the in-person auto. And at the time we were talking about it, we mentioned the fact that it's not sanctioned by Upper Deck. So this card was sanctioned by Upper Deck. And we talk all the time about whether it's Young Guns or even Young Guns canvas, how many are out there, how high the print runs are. And, scarcity drives value in the hobby. Well, here's a official Upper Deck card where they've taken his Young Guns. They've added his auto. Even though the card wasn't intended to have an auto, I think it's placed really well on the card, which is important. Again, going back to that Ovechkin conversation, it's hand numbered out of 10. And, so to me, that makes it a real big card because where are you going to get an official Upper Deck autographed Young Guns from McDavid? I can't imagine these come up for sale real often either.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very special card, just like the Gretzky above. Let's go back to that Gretzky, see if there's been any bids on it. It is now still at 3,700, so no bids since we last talked about it. And there's only less than a minute left in this window. I'm just going to go to the top and let's see. Everything is going to the next window. The Recce will end at $28 if a bid is not placed in the next 43 seconds. I see green everywhere here. Green here, except on the Ovechkin it's gonna end at $16.25 unless somebody bids in the next 30 seconds. These three cards all need a bid in the next 30 seconds or they will end. Same with the Hughes and the Verhaeghe over here. Heiskanen's going to go to the next window. These are all going to end in 20 seconds if there's no further bid. Same with these two here. We have an 8-piece Leaf Superlative 100 greatest players. You got Patrick Waugh, Joe Sakic, Teemu Selanne, Mark Savard. Trying to see if I can figure out who else. You got Luc Robitaille, Larry Robinson over there. That's Patrick Waugh without a picture. Borje Salming and Serge Savard. A nice card, $42 for the Leaf card. Let's see what's going to sell. Did this card just sell for 42 plus 8? It might have. We'll let this update. It did sell for $50.40, as did this Austin Matthews Red Prism out of $199, did $19.20. Going to go back up before we go back down here, Josh. These three have sold. So Kyle McCarr sold for $552, PSA 10 Young Gun. Adam Fox at $132. Carter Verhaeghe, $29 there, $28 here, $252 on the Jack Hughes, and $42 so far on the Heiskanen, which is still alive. Draisaitl sells for $750. William Nylander for $126. $12 for the Ace of Hearts. Alex Ovechkin, $19.50 with buyer's premium on the Alexander Ovechkin autograph Young Guns, and $33 for the Mark Recchi. And we are now in the 5-minute window. So 5 minutes, if a bid is not placed, these items will end. Let's go down here. We see the Tim Stützle Premier Auto Patch out of 15 and a PSA 8 sold for $750. I love these cards, Josh, as far as an RPA goes. I love the Ice Premier Auto Patches. I think they're nicer than the Cup. I think they're nicer than Ultimate. I think they're beautiful. Beautiful. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I agree. And it's so weird to me. We've talked about it a few times on our show and looked up that Premier cards, I think like the highest selling Premier card ever is $10,000. Now, not that that's not a lot of money, but when you compare it to almost every other set, it's weird that given how the cards are constructed, that how nice they are and how the price point of the boxes, that they just don't, for whatever reason, have a lot of secondary market value. I don't know. Do you know why?
They used to. That's the funny thing, is that they used to. And I don't know. I think there's just a lot of options out there. Maybe part of the thing is that, rare inserts from, PMGs to rubies to some of these that have become more valuable. Maybe they've taken some of that value away from other auto pack. I don't know. I don't buy into what I just said, but I'm pulling the strings here, trying to figure out, why is it? I don't know, but they're beautiful. And I think $750 for this is a steal of a deal. So congrats to the winner. On card auto as well. Important to note that. Here's a 2020 Metal Universe Ovechkin PMG Red. This is the retro style. It's at $330. It's in a PSA 8 holder, which is very strong for a PMG. Really nice card. You got the color match going on. Really cool card. I'm just excited for whoever's going to buy it tonight. I know, Josh, that your partner Troy isn't a fan of PMGs. What about you? I'm sure I've asked you before, but remind me, where do you fall? Where do you stand on PMGs?
I'm a fan, and I'm just really shocked how, though, in the past 6-7 months, how much they've gone down in value. So in April of 2022, PSA 8 of this card sold for $1,850.
Yeah. Well, what's happened since then is Upper Deck has put out another round of PMGs in 2021 Metal Universe, and I think it's just being diluted. I think, his original PMG was 2012. So this is a tribute to the 2012, which was a tribute to the 97. So it says on the slip on the PSA label right there, 97-98 retro PMG. But it's the second time that they did that. They also did it in 2012. So to me, the 2012 is like the first PMG for hockey, which it is. And this is not even the second one, because they did them again in 13, 14, 15, and 16. Maybe one year they didn't do one in there. But in any event, it's a very cool card. PMG is extremely popular. Yeah. And, it's a pop 12, 2 graded higher. It's Alexander Ovechkin, all-time great. So let's see where it ends. I'm curious to see where it falls. And then we're going to go to this Wayne Gretzky, which it says it's interesting because I want to pull this one up. I know it's sold, and I know it's sold for under $15 here, but notice it says 2021 Metal Universe Champion Skybox Premium Gold Auto. I don't see an auto. I don't see an auto on this. I don't know if Beckett just made a mistake or if the card was meant to be autographed and it wasn't. So let's go look at the back of it, because oftentimes, if not 100% of the time, on a pack pulled autograph, Upper Deck will put on the back, "Congratulations, you've received the autograph." Yeah, this is not meant to be autographed. So, and the nice thing is that PWCC caught this. Look, they did not put auto in the title, even though it says it on the BGS holder. So this is just a mistake by Beckett. is all that is. But, keep that in mind. Well, you don't have to. The card's already sold. And the Ovechkin is sold now for $396 as well. Let's see what else is sold. And then we'll go to page 2, which I do have saved. So it looks like everything is still in play here. Well, sorry, the McDavid's at $4,700 now. Those have all sold. Heiskanen's still there at $43. Needs another bid in the next 45 seconds to go to the next level. The Ovechkin is sold. The Gretzky sold for $1,110. That seems like a pretty good value to me for a card that old. The Lindros refractor did $21. $84 for the 9.5 Yager. Meanwhile, the PSA 10 is still alive. And the Gordie Howe sold for $576. Beautiful, beautiful Gordie Howe card there. Okay, let's go to this second page, which I did keep open. What happened to the Gretzky? Sorry, I'm going so it's up to 4,300 now. Last we looked, Josh, it was at 3,700. So this card has gone up $600 in the last few minutes. We have a bidding war on our hands here, everybody, as we should. Remember, last week I paid 43, including buyer's premium. So what was that? 3,600 or so for the Atomic Refractor out of 100. This card is 3 times as rare. Should this sell for 3 times the Atomic Refractor I picked up? Probably not, but probably a bit more. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this one go. I wouldn't be surprised if this card sold for $8,000, $9,000, to be honest. I would not be surprised. But let's see what happens. 3 minutes until the next level. This is page 2. We seem to be missing a couple of cards. What's going on this page here? What is this? Hold on, everybody. Bear with me. I want to make sure. This is all 164 cards in the auction. I'm going to close that one up. And we're just going to continue from here. We have a Tim Stützle Purity Gold from SB Game Used, PSA 10, sold for $37. Pop 101. Not a rookie card, but a cool card. A Cole Caulfield Shadow Box sold for $105. Moritz Sider, Mo Sider, $126. And the Trevor Zegras Foil Young Gun sold for $420. Josh, listen, I want to ask you a question. The EPAC foil variation is a card where you have to, pull maybe 10 of them, and then you can combine them for one foil. I think that's kind of how it works on EPAC. What are your thoughts on these foil cards, these rainbow foil? This is a speckled rainbow foil. What are your thoughts on them, Josh? But also, what are you seeing out there from the community? Is the community taking to these as strongly as they take to regular Young Guns?
I would think like a Young Guns acetate would be a little bit bigger of a chase. It's going to be more short printed. These are more achievement cards. It takes 15 essentially base Young Guns to make one. You got to make 5 Young Guns to make a silver foil, and then 3 silver foils to get the speckled rainbow. If I spent the money and time to collect 15 Zegras Young Guns on EPAC and got an 8, I would probably be a little bit bitter about that. So I think that one hurt the value here. A PSA 10 would be something like over probably $1,000, I would guess. I get it. It's just not something that I'm personally, there's so many options out there that if I was looking for a more exclusive Young Guns card, I would probably go in other areas, but I understand it. The thing I don't like about it, from like why I wouldn't want to shell $1,000 or $2,000 for one of these, is that the print run can change. Is going to be determined by however many people are willing to spend the money or go through the pain to combine 15 of these. So it's really hard to I think get a sense of what the ultimate pop count or print run would be if you're buying one of them.
I mean, that makes sense to me. I'm looking up the population right now, so I'm almost there. This is the Trevor Zegras. There's so many options here. Speckled rainbow foil, 48 total submissions, 23 10s, 19 9s, and 5 8s. So that adds up to, and then there's one lower, I think. So this is among the lowest graded, but it's still, there's only been 48 ever submitted. So it's a pretty rare card compared to his regular Young Gun, which there's, tens of thousands of them. So pretty cool. But you're right. I think they print these on demand kind of thing as the demand as more and more regular Young Guns are converted to rainbow foils and then speckled foil. It'll increase over time. So how about Mo Sider? I hear you guys on the Gong Show mentioning Mo Sider quite a bit lately. I learned last week that he won the Calder Trophy last year. Josh, thoughts on this card that sold for $126?
Yeah, he's a fine player. The challenge is going to be he plays defense. I don't think he's going to match Cale Makar's offensive production. It was kind of a magical time when Series 2 came out for 2021. It was right essentially as he won the Calder Trophy. And so his cards were crazy hot out of the gate. They were a raw Young Gun sold for way more than that. And so I don't, it's not a card that I would spend money on, again, expecting it to build a lot of value for me, because the Series 2 gem rates were pretty high. I think he's in the 50s or something like that, the mid 50%. But yeah, he's an exciting, young, overall really good defensive player, and on a team that 2-3 years down the road should be pretty decent.
Well, I'm just looking at the population of this in a PSA 10. It is 2,485. So plenty of them to go around. This one went for $126 tonight. So with that, let's go through and see what happened. 105 on the Caulfield Shadow Box, 420 on the Zegras Speckled Rainbow Foil, 750 on this card. Probably my favorite card in the auction tonight, just aesthetically. And I like Tim Stützle. I'm excited for his career. The Stützle here, the Purity out of 150 to $37. And we can go back now to the main page and let's see what's happening here. The Gretzky, look at that, Josh. So it went from 37 to, I think last we saw was 45 or so, and now it's up to 52.50. Again, I'm not going to be surprised if this thing keeps on going, but I also won't be surprised if it stops right here. Let's hover on it for a moment and go to some comments. John here says, hobby retail money is in Future Watch Auto and Young Guns, not Premier. Yeah, that's a big part of it, and that's because we have so many new people coming in that don't even know what ice is, and when they figure it out, I think they're going to be like, I should have bought that back on August the 20th on PWCC when Josh and Jeremy were talking about it, because that card is awesome, especially if Stützle turns into something. But John's comment, I think he's bang on, but I think it's also, it's pre-savvy, really being, it's not advanced collecting, I feel, that is putting the money into Future Watch Autos and Young Guns. Future Watch Autos more than Young Guns, but Premier, Ice, Ultimate, all have some great cards. Irish Flyers, Neil says, won my first PWCC auction ever, Carter Hart, BGS 9.5. Congratulations, Neil. Good to see you. As always, the Professor says, picked up the 2020 SP Authentic Sign of the Times, Peter Bondra auto. So the Professor is still thinking about Peter Bondra cards from a card I wanted to win the other night. That was just a card from 2003. And Neil says, Mo Sider was riding the Makar wave, the defenseman wave in popularity, which was kind of unfair for him, kind of set him up for a drop-off in value. Yeah, meaning that, now
good point.
We're kind of at a low right now, aren't we, Josh? Like for a player like look at Kaprizov. Look at the Troy Iverson tail, the tail of Troy Iverson and Kirill Kaprizov. Now is a better time to be buying these cards for sure. Anything else to add, Josh?
Nope, I think you put it very well.
Trevor Coulter. Congratulations, Trevor. Won the Stamkos Program of Excellence and the Braden Point Young Gun PSA 10. Trevor, I'm curious, is that the first time you've owned the first year Program of Excellence from the Cup, Steven Stamkos? Great card, by the way, and congratulations. Congratulations. All right. So what is left now, Josh? Is anything left? These have all sold. We're waiting on the Gretzky here, which, let's see, it might be over. It might be over right now, everybody. Looks like it is. I'm thinking it's over. Let's let it update. $52.50, $6,300 for this Gretzky Platinum Mirror Gold out of 30 and a PSA 8 holder. Really, really tough card. Congrats to the winner. Comparing it to the card I bought that was 4,300. This sells for 50% more. It's 3 times as rare. Not as nice in my opinion, but I think that's about right. What do you think, Josh? You think that's a good number for this card?
Yeah, it seems about right. I think it tied the previous high for PSA 8, which was the card that had the coating or peel still on it. And so, from what it seems like the consensus that we've learned tonight, that uh, big time 90s collectors see the card with the peel as maybe a little bit more valuable. So, this sale matching that probably is another sign that the values of these cards are trending up.
Yeah. And, I agree with what you said about, I think I am in the minority as a peel off person. And the fact that this card comes in both versions almost makes me scared about the card overall, because I can't have it. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. The way I want it is probably I'm in the minority, probably the way it's going to have a lower value or lesser of a demand down the road. Yet I want it like that. So do I want to pay this kind of money for a card that other people might not want down the road when I am going to sell it, whether that's in 5 years or 25 years? I don't know. These cards that have peel don't have peel. I wonder how many people in the hobby avoid those cards altogether because they just don't want to deal with the peel or no peel dilemma. I wonder, does anyone in the chat avoid cards like that because you don't want to get involved with peel, no peel? I have to think there's some people that just avoid them altogether because of that. Continuing down, though, there's Trevor's new Stamkos POE Program of Excellence from the Cup. Again, it was his first time ever picking one up, so congratulations, Trevor. You're definitely my favorite Tampa Bay Lightning collector. You might be the only one I know of for sure, but definitely my favorite, Trevor. And John says, Cale Makar rookie sell for 5 times the price as Hedman and Roman Josi for some reason. Funny hobby. Yeah, it's what have you done for me lately? And we put more value in future awards and championships being baked in than we put for ones that people have already won. Hedman has Stanley Cups. Josi doesn't, but he's an amazing defenseman, and he has been for a while. Meanwhile, Makar has all his whole career ahead of him. So I think that's it. John is a peel, no peel. He's calling me that again. I love it, John. And now I'm the peel, no peel avoider. Good stuff. Good stuff. Very funny. All right. So that's about it. I don't think anything else is left tonight. What I'm going to do, though, because we are ahead of schedule, is why don't we do this, Josh? Why don't we go to all items and let's just see what is still available, if anything, in the hockey auctions tonight. So let's see. We actually want to go back one, and I'm going to pick, instead of all items, we're just going to pick which one would be still available, like just not the ones that are. I can't just pick still alive, I guess. So it's going to be hard to do that. But let's do it anyway. Go to all items. Maybe there's a search up on the top right here. I'm just wondering if any sort by. Nope, nothing there that we can see what's still around, because I see this one here is sold. So we have this Topps Bobby Orr PSA 7 from 1969 at $220. Here's a McDavid insert, full force insert at $27. That's a healthy number for that card right there. I feel like at this time, Josh. But it'll take it some time to go find any more. Maybe those are the only 2 cards that are still out there. Look at this. I've never seen item not sold, meaning it never got an opening bid, which doesn't surprise me on these 2 cards. These 2 cards are not even worth the shipping. I'm surprised that they're even being listed. So, all right. Well, Josh, I mean, I think that's about it tonight. A nice auction, a few really cool cards. 90s Hockey Collector says, I prefer a peeled one. At least I will not be the one doing damage to the card. Yeah, that's true. You got to be careful when you are peeling peel off of cards. Definitely. But anything else you'd like to mention, Josh, before we wrap this up?
No, it was a good auction. It's always cool when you get special cards like the Gretzky that we can talk about. And I think the McDavid, for what it is, a Young Guns auto was another special one as well. And yeah, it's always fun to learn about these cards and talk about them and get everyone's perspective.
Yeah, we learned about the first time we had an auto patch by Upper Deck. The first time was an SP game used. I want to thank Carvin for dropping in, and Alan S for this comment here was a really nice comment right there.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very helpful. So thanks for that, Carvin. If you're still there, always good to see you. Name, please don't be late next week. Name, please don't be late next week. Everybody else, thank you guys for joining us. This was fun yet again. We'll be back. We'll be back next Sunday as well. The plan is to do at least three of these a month. So I think we'll be back next Sunday, Josh, and we'll go from there. So with that, it's Sunday night, everybody. Have a great week. It's like the last week of summer vacation here coming up. So enjoy it. Have a great week ahead, and we will see you all back here next Sunday. And with that, this episode is